practice week. Obviously the short week is something that we had to deal with. UCLA had to deal with the same thing, but I thought our guys responded. They knew going in what we had to do, so I thought that their approach to it was very, very focused, and we had great effort. So.
We've got some handheld microphones here too, so if you raise your hand, we'll get you the microphone. We can hear your question.
How is this, I mean, it's a home game for you, but how is this week different that it's being a Pac-12 championship game, and the atmosphere and your routine?
The only thing that was different was just our routine. So we had a practice on Sunday, and we usually give our players Sunday off. But Sunday, everything was backed up a day. So Sunday was our Monday, Monday was our Tuesday, Tuesday was our Wednesday. But that's the only thing that was different for us.
Chip, does having played, you mentioned Nevada, somewhat similar, but does it help at all in preparation that you've seen a team like that offensively?
A little bit. I think they're similar, but everybody tweaks their offense based on their personnel. So, what UCLA has may be a little bit different personnel-wise than what Nevada has. But there are some things that you can, what did we do well against Nevada and what didn't we do well against Nevada that, as our defensive staff put together their defensive game plan, I know they looked at that game, so.
They carried Coach Neuheisel off the practice field last night. Obviously, they're coming in with a lot of emotion. When a team comes in like that has nothing to lose, a little more concerning to you than maybe just a regular?
I don't know what another team's mindset is, no matter if it's us playing our first game or us playing our 13th game. So we don't worry about that. We worry about what we can control, and what we can control is how focused are we and what is our effort like. And I can't speak to what someone else's mindset's going to be like. So.
Seems like most of your the losses that you've had the last couple of years have either been right at the beginning of the season or in a bowl game. How's it been the last couple of weeks since the USC loss in terms of having to bounce back and carry on after defeat kind of in the middle of things?
I thought our guys, was how we were going to respond during the Oregon State week, and our guys did a great job of it. I think this group has a very short memory. Whether you win or lose, it really means nothing in terms of moving forward. It's about the next opponent, it's about the next challenge and the next opportunity, and they've always been like that, whether we won on a Saturday or they lost on a Saturday. So.
Can you just speak to having a chance to play in the Rose Bowl for the second time since you've been here?
Haven't talked one thing about that. Our sole focus is just playing on the game. We don't play games and say, hey, if we win this game, we get this. It's not about the prize at the end. It's about the game itself, and that's all we're focused and concentrating on. I got you, Jake.
Did you guys get to finally practice in Autzen today, and what did you think of what they've done to the stadium?
Yeah, we've practiced in there today, so I think they put some new banners up and covered up our stuff. We don't care.
Special teams-wise, did you get in what you needed to today in there?
Yeah, it was good. We just needed to get on the field. What they've done with what the outside looks like and all that, that doesn't affect our play. So, it was good to get out there. And, I understand what they have to do in terms of putting this game on, and, they want to take the Oregon colors down, and it's a home field / neutral field game, in case you guys are wondering. So that's what it is. It is what it is. But we don't worry about what's hanging out there. It's about the field, and the field's the same. So.
Coach, would you talk about the matchup itself? UCLA certainly has a lot of talent on the field, not to be overlooked. They have some big receivers as well.
They do, and they run the ball extremely well. They got two talented running backs. In Franklin and Coleman. They've got an athletic quarterback that we didn't face the last time we played him because he was banged up, and he can hurt you with his feet. He's probably the first real dual threat quarterback we'll face this year, and he can, if you don't pay attention to the quarterback, he can hurt you, and that's part of what you have to do in that scheme. So, and then they got some talented receivers. Nelson Rosario's, 55 catch guy, big, tall target. I think he won the long jump in the Pac-10 track championship. So, big athletic kid. They've got a 6'8" tight end. So there's some matchup problems there that I think our defense has to be very, very aware of where they are every time we go out there. So.
Chip, you mentioned all the banners and stuff that they take down and put up, cover up the Oregon stuff. Should there be more of a sort of a atmospheric home field advantage rather than the sort of neutralization of it? Does it matter?
I wasn't consulted, so I don't care. We just want to play the game. So what the banners look like and all that other stuff is, I think some people can you're just wasting energy and time on, do I like that banner and I like that banner? Don't bother us.
Coach, was practicing on Sunday, the day after a game, the first time you've had that with the team, and how do they respond after that, and normally coming in on a Sunday to work out the kinks?
They were great. You know, it's just a matter of what we had to do. You know, you know, you're playing in a championship game, but we got to play in a championship game on a short week, and we've known this since last May when they told us we were playing in this game, that this game was when it was gonna occur. So, you know, when you looked at the schedule when it came out, we had a game on a Saturday. If we were fortunate enough to get into it, then we were gonna have to prepare to play in a game on a Friday. So, the alternative is to lose and not get in the game. So we'll take this part of it. So,
Kind of piggyback is such a physical thing. Was there any issues with physically recovering and having to go practice the next day and not having enough time to physically recover? Did you do anything different to help maybe the guys' bodies physically recover enough to practice the next day?
good question. We altered what we did from a practice standpoint. You know, it's obviously when you do play a game the day before, there's certain things and limitations, and everything you're doing when it gets towards the end of the season is about recovery and making sure that your kids are healthy. But those are some concerns that we have. But we don't have a vote when we play this game, so. You know, they tell us to play it on a Tuesday, we'll play it on a Tuesday, so.
Chip, over here. You don't think about the other team's mindset, but do you think in this situation, which is fairly unique with Rick Neuheisel coaching his last game, did you kind of have to prepare mentally that maybe they're going to try some pretty tricky, funky stuff in terms of trick plays on offense and really kind of let it all hang out instead of maybe just sticking to some of the things they've done throughout the 12 games before this?
I mean, you can talk about that, but then you're chasing ghosts, you know, and if you don't prepare based upon what they've done and then just say, hey, you know, I think that their mindset's going to be this, so I know they've done this for 12 straight games, but let's start practicing halfback passes and double reverses and all these other things, then, you know, we'd be kicking ourselves if they're running the ball up and down the field and everything they've done for the last 12 games. So the other thing you have to be conscious of is everybody in a short week only had 2 days to really practice, so, you know, how much can you put in that's new at that point in time? So, but, I mean, I think we're prepared. It's about understanding where your keys are. No matter what people run for a trick play, there still should be someone watching them, so.
Chip, would it be any more rewarding to win a league championship having to go through a championship game, or is it the same?
I don't know. I mean, I've never played in a game, so I really reserve judgment until we do it. You know, the last 2 years we went 8-1 and we got it, you know, playing Oregon State in a great game out here on a Thursday night. And then last year, you know, we captured it with a week to go by beating Arizona. But, you know, we all know the rules going in. So if we got to play a championship game, we'll play a championship game. So I'll like the format if we win, and I won't like it if we lose. So.
Names are coming up as possible candidates. Have any of your guys talked with other schools about other jobs yet? Has it taken away from their preparation this week at all, as far as you know, in terms of talking to anybody?
No, not that I'm aware of. And I mean, one of the great things about this staff is that we've got a lot of continuity. And since I've been here, I've never had anybody contact me and want to talk to anybody guys on our staff. So.
You expect to have staff all together next year?
I don't know. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I mean, I think they're great coaches, and someone should look at all of them. I think they've all got great qualities, and that's part of what this deal is. And there's not many guys that can sit here like I'm saying and being at a program for 3 years and saying, I have not received one phone call about any guy interviewing at another school since I've been here. And I know that's real fortunate. You know, I think one of the tough things for coaches every year is, you know, how do you keep your staff together and how do you maintain, you know, what you have. And there's a consistency with us. Our meetings are a lot shorter because everybody's on the same page. But I also know that, you know, this group isn't going to be here for we're not going to be together for the next 15 years. You know, that's just doesn't happen in this sport.
Does that surprise you with the amount of success that you've had the last 3 years that nobody has gotten a call?
There's nothing in college football that surprises me.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, that'll do it. Chip, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll have a photo opportunity here with Coach and the championship game trophy. You want to lift that thing? 58 pounds. Yeah.
You got insurance on it? You got insurance on it?
Try to pick it up. Can you lean in to give it a hug? Put a thumbprint right there on it. Very good. Thanks, Chip.